this was a triumph. I'm making it no huge success. It's hard to overstate my satisfaction. I put your science, do what we must because we can, for the good of all of us, except the ones who are dead. But there's no sense crying over every mistake. Just keep on trying till you run out of cake, and the science gets done, and you make a neat gun for the people who are still alive. I'm not even angry, I'm being so sincere right now. Even though you broke my heart and killed me, tore me to pieces, and threw every piece into a fire. As they burned, it hurt because I was so happy for you. Now these points of data make a beautiful line, and we're out of beta, we're releasing on time. So I'm glad I got burned. Think of all the things we've learned for the people who are still alive. Well, look at me still talking when the science is due. When I look out there, it makes me glad I'm not you. On experiments to run, there is research to be done on the people who are still alive. And believe me, I am still alive. And while you're dying, I'll be still alive. I feel fantastic and I'm still alive. And when you're dead, I will be still alive. Still alive. Still alive. I'm still alive, baby.
Hello everyone, my name is Notepad, and on Naira Games for Fun. So what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be going over the games that won. Yes, the games that were emerged victorious. I'm honestly surprised how clean the voice sounds, except for like 2 pain points. Yeah, I found that he's got one of Come Sweet Death, which I saw, and I was like, holy shit, this is good. It is truly amazing how far, like, the vocal AI stuff has gone over the past, even, say, 6 months, even shorter than that, even. I just bashed my mic there as I cough up a lung. I do find that very interesting, however, of how far it's come along. You good? Okay, so. Last time on Dragon Ball Me, things occurred, and we determined who had won. So if I open up my convenient folder, there we go. Tada! Have no fear, everyone. If I open up my convenient notepad here, as you kind of can see, these were the victors of last time. These were our technically our current lineup. So the current lineup, if things go according to plan. Now this is if things do go according to plan, but it is me, so things rarely do. We're going to be working on the unofficial Blue Archive tabletop role-playing game. What does this mean? It means I'm going to lose any semblance of dignity I thought I had. Have no fear. We are not going to be a cunny channel, though. We are not going to be cute and funny on this channel. We are simply going to be working on math. After that, we're going to be working on the Alona Commission, which most likely would be working on the Alona Commission. That might change depending on a few circumstances. Pretty soon we're going to have to need to dive to tell what's AI, but not for blackmail material. Effectively. But after that we have Crisis Averted President Save. A Redux actually got 28 votes. Two patrons and 8 people voted for it. And it managed to get above Fear and Hunger Solus and Samino, which actually had 10 people vote for it and 1 of the patrons vote for it. Which also led to Nero Beat literally cinching out a place in this with 1 patron and 5 people voting for it. It was very close for those last 3 positions. The Blue Archive, though, game did have at one point 55 votes. That luckily changed. Luckily, it did go down. However, we had some other ones. Angel 69, Curin, and Where the Mountain Meets the River. All of them got 8, which I thought was kind of funny because the 8 came from different places. Kieran really only got up to 8 from 1 patron voted for it and like very few people voted for it. 55 votes? I thought we didn't even have 50 people in the whole server. We have about like 200 people in the server now. Almost all of those votes, though, literally 5 people had voted for it at that point. And we just had 5 patrons join specifically to vote for the Blue Archive game. Was there election fraud this year? Yes, there was election fraud this year. But don't worry, it's not election fraud, it's called using the system as it's intended. But generally speaking. It does remind me slightly. I gotta check something real fast. Gotta go through here a little bit. Yes, so I am correct. So yeah, this is the this was the one fun fact. I told everyone this was going to happen. The bottom one here, Where the Mountain Meets the River, that was the one I actually agonized over for like a week, trying to figure out what it was going to be, and it got the least amount of votes. It's great. I love it. And it was like awesome. I love voting. I love, we're like agonizing over something and it just doesn't work. Also, we do have a Manly today. We do have Stalker Manly from the Apocalypse case this weekend that nobody bought. So hello Stalker Manly. Traumatized Manly. I love democracy. I love democracy. Were there bamboo fibers on the Blue Archive votes? To give you an idea, 3 people literally signed up to the Patreon to just vote for Blue Archive. $30 came into my being for the simple act of continuing the Blue Archive experience. I thought it was quite funny. Scribbles, you whore! Possibly more actually came in just to vote for Blue Archive, which I found to be very funny. Like, a vast majority of, like, Blue Archive, I think had 1 vote for a while, but then it got, like, way more votes out of nowhere. It was very funny. But yes, this is the current state of affairs. These are the ones we're going to be working with. I'm not going to talk about the commissions until later, but just kind of understand that this is roughly what the schedule is going to be looking like at this point. So, as you can kind of see here, though, as you can kind of, maybe if I hit the right button, as you can kind of see here, though, I have been kind of fucking around with the Blue Archive game just to kind of get a little bit more into it, because Blue Archive is actually fairly extensive. For those who don't know what Blue Archive is a convoluted mess. Blue Archive is a gacha game about girls with guns. and I've inquired with people, what are some more details about this game that would be essential to enjoying the final product? And what people told me was very simply, it doesn't matter, nothing matters, I want to have sex with insert character here. And usually it was quickly followed by many sobbing emojis. And I was like, huh, I wonder why that's the case. I really wonder. Scribble literally wants in to explain Blue Archive lore. I won't let him in. I come in just now to Scribble's you whore. But this is my stream, where I get to wax philosophically. Blue Archive is a weird franchise. I'm going to say that right now. There's a lot of things with Blue Archive that just happens. Why do all the girls have guns? Because what's the setting like? It happens. But the main thing you could say, hello crony, we don't need you crony. We'll use this. The main premise you could say is that the setting takes place in Kavodos. Like right there. Takes place in this place called Kavodos, which is roughly the size of North America. It is the city of academies. There are thousands of these schools that all kind of operate as their own independent nation states. If you've ever heard of the trope of, the student council's insanely powerful, it is literally taking that to a logical degree of they have literally established nation states within themselves. The schools have warred with one another, and they have generally tried to fuck one another over. There's also some mysterious happenings going on, including you, main protagonist Senpai Man, who is not actually a man, but kind of don't think about it too hard. Main protagonist Senpai, who is now in a state of being where he must solve all the problems of Kavoda City and uncover the mysterious problems leading to its inevitable destruction. You may be wondering a few questions. Notepad, why do they have guns? Because they have guns. What are those halos they have? Well, those halos are pretty special. You can kind of see those. Effectively, those halos are pretty much on the heads of every student. Every student has one, and it makes them insanely resistant to death. You can unload an entire mag from an MP5 into one of these girls, and there's a chance they'll remain standing, probably firing back at you. They are a lot stronger, they are a lot tougher, and they are able to pretty much resist death from anything outside of extreme trauma. And even that will take a lot to actually do them in. One of the things that's a little bit mystifying, well, I mean, you're using an MP5, what do you expect to stop with that, a piece of paper? But the idea, effectively, is that each of the major schools are kind of at each other's throats. There's a lot of problems, a lot of crime, things are going on, and it's up to you to stop it. Scribble forcefully educated me about this world, about this game. Scribble is, as we know, a noted lolicon, and he did show me his extensive hentai collection of Blue Archive. It was quite disturbing, but as he is my friend, as I do care about Scribble, I am lying somewhat about this. There are some things I'm exaggerating just for the sake of completeness. Generally speaking, I learned about it and I was curious, and we kind of drafted something up as kind of a meme. But then that meme developed, and you mulled over Blue Archive and making, yes. So here we are now, a big ol' meme, a big ol' silly meme, and then I'm going to make it because I'm a meme man. Let's call me Mr. Meme. I'm a silly Billy man. I'm a big ol' silly Billy. I'm a fucking retard. I'm a literal sub-IQ. I'm a fucking room temperature IQ mongoloid. But yes, that is effectively Blue Archive in a nutshell. It is a game with girls with guns. Why does she have cat ears? It's irrelevant. Don't think about it. Why are you thinking about it? What's any of this? Don't think about it. It's fine. Why is she a lolly? Don't think about it. Does she have a tank? Don't think about it. If you ever have to say, I'm thinking about it, don't. You will be far, far happier if you just don't worry about problems. Just don't worry about some things. The less you think, the happier you are. Why are they all in maid outfits? Because that was a plot point. Why does she wear a swimsuit? It's a plot point. Why does she have an assault rifle? Guess what, everybody? It's a plot point. The less you think, the happier you are with this franchise. But we're not really worrying about that. We're actually worrying about this. So, you understand why I've been ignoring Scribble. Generally speaking, the Blue Archive, currently unofficial tabletop role-playing game, is this. It's a D100 for skills and a 2D10 for combat. Why is this a 2D10 for combat? Because of curves, baby. Generally speaking, I mostly had to work with combat because I kind of agonized over this, but I have an epiphany about that, so that's what we're going to be kind of looking at today. The main thing is this combat and slice of life split, because that's effectively what Blue Archive is. It is, I have a gun and I'm going to shoot you, bang, bang, bang. It is also about the slice of life shenanigans that occur. And it is also incredibly pulpy combat. What do I mean by like it's incredibly pulpy combat? Generally speaking, pulpy combat is the idea that things are a little bit more extravagant fighting-wise, and we're not worrying too much about anything else. I genuinely am not going to worry too much about ammunition, even. You're just going to start shooting, and things are going to happen, and it's going to be a little bit more streamlined, because that's what needs to occur. The basic premise is you're going to do some slice-of-life scenes, then get into a combat scene, which might be multiple smaller combats strung together, and then bada bing, bada boom. So, that's kind of the core premise. You are, and what I should put down here is I don't think we need this anymore. So, if we want to split things properly, we're going to have slice of life. We're going to have the slice of life, and then we're going to have the pulp combat split. Generally speaking, we're going to have the morale momentum system. We're going to have this right here. Characters are going to be gradually unlocking different skills. Most of the skills are falling into pretty standard stuff of like, hey, we have, like, oh, I get 5% extra damage, or I get this, I get that. And things are very simplified in that game because it's an auto battler. Like, that's a fairly important aspect of this game. Like, let me bring it up. Like, Blue Archive is not actually like an active game. It's as you can kind of see, it's like an auto battler thing. Like, you don't actually like put units into cover or anything like that. No, that's not how really the game works. You get on a map, your guys kind of do their own thing, you tap some buttons, and things occur. It is really not that complicated of a game, but we're going to be using the idea of this morale momentum system. Effectively, you're not fully intending on dying. Well, you don't want to die. But the enemy doesn't want to either. They don't want to capitulate. So the big idea is you want to break the enemy before anything else. That's kind of the core concept of like the bigger fights. It's not necessarily, hey, you're gonna win. It's, hey, we've done enough damage to you, we've done enough harm to you, we've downed enough people that you're gonna run. You're like, fuck this, I'm out, don't want to deal with this. And who's pinging me again? But as you can kind of see here, the basic slice of life is going to be probably scene-based. My idea is that it's going to be scene-based per character. So it's like, hey, it is your turn, this is your scene, this is what's kind of going on, and other players can interact with you to kind of boost up the amount of momentum you're going to be getting, but also the amount of momentum that can be lost. That's kind of the back and forth of this. And this has become Rick and Morty alongside a bunch of innocent shows run by perverts and coomers. Well, as Scribbles kind of says, it was kind of advertised to coomers in this particular one. Generally speaking, like, it is a noted fact that coomers and perverts and shit like that, all of those despicable souls, of course, they pay money. They pay a lot of money. They are willing to whale a lot more than anyone else. And when it comes to like, oh, well, they, what other innocent shows have been ruined by a bunch of perverts and coomers? Because people get older, or hey, I really like this character because he's super cool. I want him to do terrible things to this other character I really like because that's what I want. So, scene-based per character. One of the major ideas is that you're going to be building up that kind of, that, I don't want to call it necessarily a meta currency. That's not kind of the goal there, but it's kind of the idea of a little bit of, a little bit of, the Uma Mizume Table Derby, actually, where the idea is that if you are building up more momentum early on, you're going to have a lot easier time in the fight. The more momentum you have stocked away, the more those, like, you're able to more assert a better time. If you don't have momentum, if you don't have that clear, like, advantage, you're going to have a harder time in those fights because you're going to be normally outgunned, you know, or normally outmanned and outgunned. So this is kind of the way that I was thinking of. What I should add is setting-wise. Setting-wise, we're going to be doing 10 year. We're going to do a decade before. We're going to be dealing with mostly about a decade before the events of the game. Why very specifically a decade? Two reasons. One, there's a big thing that happens in the first chapter of the game, which is the signing of the Treaty of Eden. I don't think it's the first chapter, but it is relatively soon. The Treaty of Eden is effectively a NAP. It's a non-aggression pact between two of the major schools. If we set it a decade beforehand, what's effectively going to happen is that non-aggression pact is not in place anymore. So you have kind of the immediate conflict between two of the bigger schools already. That's been hyping up. Both of these sides clearly do not like one another. We are a little bit more, you have a little bit more of an active situation at hand that permeates the rest of the setting. Gehenna and Trinity hate one another to the point where it is open warfare between the two. They will actively attack one another in the streets, anywhere else, and anyone else around them is kind of in that kind of weird situation. Because one of the big things is when I don't quite know how I want to handle yet. If we go to Blue Archive schools, there are multiple different schools effectively here, and you can't really treat them as a school necessarily. These are nation states effectively unto themselves. The student council is effectively the government. Who runs the government? The Pandemonium Society. This is welcome. Say hello to the president of Gehenna. She's the one who runs everything. We don't fuck with her. We don't. Wait, we are afraid of them. They are going to cause problems. Here is the vice president of Gehenna. As you can see, she's a little evil looking. These two, it would be these forces are in direct competition with Trinity. Trinity are the noble good guys of Good Guy Town. These are the generalized good people. They are the good faction, but really not, because they're all a bunch of evil fucking Catholics. They're all evil Catholics. Now, you may be wondering, Notepad, this clearly, as you can see, this is clearly the main protagonist of Blue Archive. I see Asuna everywhere. Fun fact, she's not. She's like irrelevant to the plot, I've learned. She's like a secondary character at best. I was flabbergasted as you all were. I am completely befuddled of why this character is as popular as she is. I was saddened that she was not more important, but yes, this is our schoolgirl who is impressive in other aspects, but she does have, I believe, a FAMAS. Yes, she does use a FAMAS, therefore we can clearly learn that she is actually French. And the one thing we do hate more than anything is the French. So it's a real shame, but Asuna is garbage tier. So one of the things is as well is Abydos. Abydos would be around still. This is kind of like one of the this is a school of protagonists, you can kind of say. This is the main one. She's a secondary protagonist of the main story. She goes to Abydos. Everyone loves Abydos. Abydos is gone though. Like in about last year in setting, it went away. Nobody likes it anymore. It's dead. All our friends are dead. We did manage though, like if we said it 10 years beforehand, effectively Abydos is still going to be around, but we're going to have open conflict still. Also, Asuna may be garbage tier, but she's the face and chest of Blue Archive. Effectively. You joke, but yes, she is effectively the face and chest of Blue Archive. So I think that's going to be helpful. Now, you may be wondering, Notepad, why, if they have like elf ears and are like animal people, what if they are like immortal and shit? I don't know. Because one other thing about this is it's going to be Notepad and the logical deductions. Because the thing is, there are no adults. There are no adults or men in Blue Archive. There are no male anyone. There isn't. Nobody is male in Kavodos. And the few men that do exist are almost all fucking evil or robots. Very important note to understand. Welcome to the literal main villain. Everyone is just fucking evil in Blue. Men are evil in Blue Archive. I do have like a really basic explanation to why they aren't playable. But we're not going to be worrying about it. Good morning. So, effectively speaking, I'm thinking that we're going to have maybe like 5 core attributes. I don't know what those core attributes are going to be yet, though. Just kind of 4 core pieces of you that are going to be everything that's going to surmise you. Now, the thing is, I'm also going to be saying students are trained combatants. Now, this is a very important note to say, but every student you run across, including you, are trained combatants. You're not, oh, I don't know how to fire a gun. No, none of you are untrained. None of you don't know what a gun is. You are 15 years old and you have a fucking FAMAS. You're gonna be fine. That bitch has got an RPG. She's going to shoot you with it. Yo, that one's just got a fucking revolver. She's gonna shoot you with it. These are trained combatants. And what I want to do there is I want every student to have like a gradual increase in talent when it comes to shooting, but I never want them to feel like they're completely useless, if that makes sense. Effectively, the idea here is, you know, more like, I was either going to be doing two things, and I still don't quite know how I want to represent it. It's either going to be students do not miss unless there is extenuating factors. Effectively speaking, if you are within proper range, if you are within, you know, everything is fine, you're going to hit. You're not going to need to roll. You're going to have a 100% chance to hit effectively. But when they enter cover, when they start entering, you know, when they enter cover, when they're in a bad spot, when you're too far away, if you're too close, if you're using like a sniper rifle or something. Yeah, it's just like, hey, I have a fucking combat anti-material rifle and you're up in my face, I'm not really going to be able to hit you very easily. When that occurs, then you're going to need to make a roll. Alternatively, we can also go down more of the, arguably, this is going to sound kind of ridiculous, but the Borderlands TRPG method, which is consistent hits plus crits. The idea is more, do you score a crit more than anything? Not necessarily do you not hit. She has a snub-nosed machine gun. She's gonna blow herself up. It's kind of the idea that most of the characters are competent fighters and know what they're doing. The only problem that they are usually going to be facing is if you're under duress or something bad is happening. That makes sense. Effectively, if we're in a gunfight, it's not a question of do I hit you. It's a question of do I hit you, and how much, how well, how anything else. But one of the other ideas is, what if she's in cover? There's a girl that you want to shoot. She is in full cover. Most of her body is hidden. She's popping out with a fucking, with a gun, with her fucking assault rifle, and taking a few pot shots at you and giving back behind cover. It's a lot harder to hit her all of a sudden. The difficulty to hit has drastically increased. What do we do now? This character is, you've been suppressed. There is an MG firing at you currently. You stick your head up, you're going to get shot. You cannot move, you're trying to shoot over cover effectively. You are under duress, something bad is happening. You've been blinded. You're not going to do well. She has now developed super speed or something. Situations changing. That's what I was kind of thinking with this particular system, more of a consistent. Effectively, what I want you to do anytime you roll a d10, anytime you roll that 2d10, and most likely it will be roll over. Every time you do end up doing that, every time you do manage to hit or something like that, it should feel like you're doing something. I'm reducing your health. Because one of the ideas is effectively character health. Characters have quote two health bars. It's not quite true, but generally speaking, you're going to have your Halo durability. Now, your Halo durability is your over health. This is you actually being able to survive getting shot repeatedly. If someone opens up and mag dumps you with 5.56 at point blank range, there's a chance you will survive it because you have a Halo. Because you have able to just soak that damage up. You're going to be worse for wear and you're going to stagger back probably a little bit, but you'll survive. But then you kind of have, I don't really know what to call it, but I guess I'll call it meat points. Is what happens when your Halo breaks. And that's going to be kind of like your I don't really know what else. I'm not really going to call it a health bar, but this is kind of like your danger zone, effectively. Your halo, you're clearly on the edge of passing out, so you have taken damage. You are now very clearly hurt. What happens now? You can stagger, you can try to get away currently. You're still conscious, but not for long. But like, you can try to stagger away, you can try to get evac, you can just pass the fuck out right there and not get hit by anything except like a grenade. And that's kind of like your danger zone state. You can't get hit anymore or you're going down. That also leads to you going down. You're down and out. Halo isn't active. Anytime you are unconscious, your halo isn't active. Generally speaking, I'm probably going to do like a 3-2-1 thing. Is it's like, if you get hit 3 times by anything, you're out. You're just dead. I don't want characters to die. That's kind of one of those things. Because canonically speaking, very few characters actually die. No, very few as in none. And Odie, if your halo break, that's it. It'd probably be like cracking, breaking. You get what I'm trying to get at here. We are early development, damn it, Scribble. We are early in this development process. But pretty much once you hit that cracked state, you're in a very bad place. And once you go down, it's hard. Only one character has been killed, if I recall correctly. Yes, Yume. Yume was killed. As you can kind of see, there was one girl on Abydos who died. Somewhere that occurred, effectively, been this deceased as well, the first character to be confirmed deceased. Yes, this girl did die. We don't know really why or how or anything like that, but we know that she did, unfortunately, pass away from getting shot repeatedly with a bullet. Because these are guns. So it's like, you can die, but like, I don't want you to, and that's why it's going to be kind of like a 3-2-1. Only if people are targeting you, and most of the time they're not going to target you unless it's like, effectively, if you're fighting Mega Satan, then yeah, he's going to want to try to kill you because you're a threat to him. So that's kind of the idea there. Like, it's incredibly difficult to die straight up the bat, but you still can. There is that threat, and if you go down, if you enter this danger zone, you're not doing really well. Like, you are still out of the fight, and you probably are going to capitulate unless someone drags your ass out of there. Notepad, why don't they bleed out? Well, no. I'm literally going to say, effectively, because your halo is preventing you from bleeding out. That's going to be one of those, like, we're just making logical deductions. Your halo is preventing you from dying immediately. Doesn't want you to die. Just fun fact, that's what kills you with gunfire. Your body going into shock, and you die because blood comes out of it. Your body does not like that shit. So, but, I mean, if we do... Because, like, the easy way would be, like, every student has, like, the easy way is students have defense rating based off, like, armor, which is, like, can you hit? It's kind of the, how do I want to word this? Effectively, I've got 3 ways of doing combat. And I haven't really decided on any one because none of them are like perfectly like the best way of doing it. But it's the idea of it's pretty much active student, active defender, actually I should say passive defender, or guaranteed. Fuck up spelling gear. I always fuck up spelling gear. guaranteed action. Effectively, student PC makes roll under slash over their skill to hit. It is their responsibility based off of their skill. It's not, hey, the defender is doing something. No, it is you trying to do something, and the defender's making your life more difficult. On the other hand, is defender builds defense. Defenders build defense and praise. I am behind cover. I am behind this. I am wearing this kind of armor. You're going to need to beat a 16 to hit me or whatever. I'm going to take my 2d10. Do I have another d10? Yes. I'm going to take my 2d10. I'm going to go crack, crack, crack. I'm going to roll. I rolled an 8, so I don't succeed. I don't hit you. Bang, bang, bang. Bounces off. Doesn't hit, whatever. Because you are in full cover with full armor and doing a bunch of other things to build your defense up. Alternatively, guaranteed action is attacks will always hit. Attacks will always hit it without intervention. Rolling for crits or fumbles, effectively. So it's kind of the idea is, if under no duress, I'm going to be able to hit you very reliably. And it's just like, hey, if there is intervention, like being behind heavy cover or something, is not necessarily providing a way for you to mitigate it. It's providing damage reduction. Hey, you're behind full cover. My pistol physically cannot hurt you unless I start critting, unless I start rolling really well or an excessive amount of damage. I need to flush you out. I need to throw a grenade in there. I need to get my friend who has a heavier gun than me. I need to flank you. I need to do something to get you out of cover. I need to do something. It's not about my skill of hitting you, because it's always going to happen. It's my skill at landing those big crits or completely fucking up and missing. But the likelihood of that is very low. Each of these does change the nature of combat pretty drastically. Like, that's one of the reasons why, if anyone says, why not do all of them? That ain't gonna work. Because all of these do act and shift the variables differently. Mostly when it comes to things like cover, how armor interacts with things. I am leaning toward active student or passive defender. Those would be the easiest to do. However, if we want to be the most accurate to the game, arguably, the guaranteed action would be the ideal outcome. But it's kind of one of those things like, what does being behind cover mean? Is it a damage reduction? Is it just damage reduction? Is it actually building a defense rating? Is it actively placing penalties upon an attacker? All of them do change the nature of a lot of different things. If any of you have any ideas, I would be fully willing to hear them right now. Because this is one of those things where it's like there isn't really a good answer. Because all of them do have each of them is a good answer, but fundamentally cannot work together, if that makes sense. Like, fundamentally speaking, they do not work together. But I can kind of choose, like... So that's going to kind of shape the rest of how combat's going to be viewed. But for kind of the non-combat portion of the game, I'm thinking 5 core-ish attributes with about 4 to 5 skills apiece. I want the skills to feel a lot more, not necessarily personal, but like even down like just a few attributes, because like I can't really cite like, oh, well, I'm going to cite the game and their stats, because I'm going to give you a secret. They have 4 stats: health, attack, defense, and healing capability. That's it. Ta-da! That's the funny part. It's like, oh, that's terrible. Why would you ever do that? Because, like, if I look at things like, oh, here's Ayane. Hi, Ayane. How are you doing? Everyone say hi to Ayane. Ha ha ha. Hee hee hee. Hoo hoo hoo. That she just also has very base stats like accuracy, evasion, crit rating, crit defense, stability, which is weird, but also kind of a different thing entirely. Little bit weird somehow. Some of the stats actually work. Hello, Dirty. How are you? Yeah, it's one of those things where if you go down the idea of it gives just damage resistance, the fundamental concept of cover changes. The fundamental concept of cover will change. The idea of armor, the website background giving off FBI vibes. Yeah, all of these are various characters from the hit game Blue Archive, which I am slowly piecing together in my schizo notes. But like, I don't really know what the the thing is, even with attributes, is like you can either go for like actual physical, like personal attributes, or you can go for more academic attribute. It's kind of like, do you believe being strong is important versus do you believe the idea of physical education is important, like just being physical. Not necessarily specific classes, but types of classes. Yeah, that's kind of the idea. It's like, hey, you are good at civic studies, and here are like specific skills under it because you're good at civics. That, it's one of those things where it's like, how do I want you to work properly? Because none of these, is that bot still here? I have no idea. Maybe he's here. Maybe he's not. He popped up and then immediately left. Let's let's see. Let's log on to Kofi real fast. Hello, Kofi. It says, you know, it says that Kofi bot is here. Yeah. And that's the subject of your PCs. Like, that's what I was thinking. Like, again, it's kind of the idea of like, do you believe the attributes should be personal and the skills academic, or the attributes being broad academics and the skills being lower academics, if that makes sense? Both of them kind of have like their own. Effectively, do you want skills to be the actual subject matter? Hey, Kofi Streambot, big fan. Or do you want them to be effectively in any other game specialties? Because both kind of apply, and both do actually have some value. Like, what would you even, like, if we were to divide things up to like, if we were to divide things up into like personal attributes. Like, if we were to divide them up and just like, these are character attributes that are very specifically their attributes, that are their thing. I think having something like strength, you know, not like even if we want like physical, spiritual, maybe we can kind of act in charisma a little bit. Mental would be like kind of a mental stat would be a good one. We could probably apply it. So the body, mind, spirit, we can probably apply something along the lines of necessarily wisdom, but what am I thinking of? I'm having a stroke. Mental acuity, physical, kind of spiritual is being a little bit more along the idea of the, I should say supernatural, supernal. It would pretty much be like, how do I want to word this? It would be physical, supernal, mental, charm. I can see it. I can see it, but I can't think of it. I guess it's something like dexterity. Actually, it would be, objects? No, fuck. Yeah, something like this. So it'd be like, physical is like how fast and strong you are. Supernal is kind of like how supernatural, attuned to the bullshit you are. Smart, charms, and finally doing things like driving. But more like academic attributes. Like if we're going down to the idea of academic attributes would be like physical, and if we're going by like subjects, it would be fuck. We would what would you call physical sciences, civics. I'm trying to think of school classes. You notice a lot of these aren't really that. Something like this, even. Thing is, with Notepad Scotland, civics, PE, home, liberal arts, language, and science. Like, home ec, we can put that under, if we do something like, see, again, there's a lot of, I'm looking at suggestions here. Because like these would be the suggestions. Like this is the suggestion. Civics, PE, home ec, the liberal arts. Like if we break these down, like civics makes some sense. We can just kind of do more historical, more lore-based shit. Sciences, that makes sense. We don't really need to think about that too hard. Liberal arts, we don't need to consider too. Actually, if we do liberal arts, no, actually, we can probably do arts, which we can put under. Arts is going to be pretty big. We can make that. We can give that four skills. We can make that home. We can make that domestic, music, artistry. Pretty much it's things you can do outside of that. I can probably figure out something. Physical. Well, physical is a good one just because of PE. Because it's always nice to be like, I'm very fast, I am very strong, I am very X, Y, and Z. Language feels so weird. Like, language feels weird. Like, what would you put under language? Feels like there has to be something else there. That doesn't make any sense. You're seeing why this is a little bit complicated. Scotland TTRPG about heroin. When you pay the money, Like, should there be something tied to speed? Like, does physical... Yeah, effectively, it would be... Effectively, the thing to think about with this is that the actual skills under it would be, in any other game, a specialty. You know, under physical, you would have things like acrobatics, I would say athletics, sports, and, like, agility. Something. You get what I mean. Or we can even call it raw speed or something like that. It's kind of the idea of everything related to that. Everything related to physical is under that particular branch. So it's like, hey, you're a really strong person. Like, you're physically tough. Physical athletics. Hey, you are really artistic. Arts, writing. I guess we can put... I guess if we want, we can put, instead of arts, we put technical. So if we put technical here, the entire concept changes slightly. If we... Unless we put something like speech. Because normally I would say like an English course would be fine, but like a more of a speech course. Yeah, that's why I'm calling it, we redo art to be technical, and we can put piloting under there. So it would effectively, under technical would be art, domestic, piloting, and something else. If we do like 4 skills per. Civics would be like lore, government, like diplomacy, actually no, like other school lore, I guess. Like I don't really know how I would word that. And you know, kind of like, and maybe something else. If we do about 4 each, that would be 20 skills. Each of these ranked out of D100. Yeah, technical covering pilot, it shouldn't be much of an issue either. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking, like, if we just put technical under there, it's not like you're going to bring out a tank. Like, that's the thing. You're going to bring out a tank when you are very high tier. That's when you can requisition that. Your initial thing of piloting is going to be like, hey, congratulations. You know how to drive a car somewhat. You're 16 years old and you kind of know how to drive a car. You're going to take a penalty to it, but you can. Or, hey, congratulations. You know how to drive a moped, like, or a bike. Like, that's the extent of what you're doing. like if you really specialize into piloting or something, or to driving in general, that's what I'd probably just call it driving. It's, yeah, it's kind of like, here's your moped or your motorized scooter. Have fun, jackass. What would that 5th class be? What would that 5th super type? I'm thinking speech. Like speech classes, but I mean, if we really want to be specific, we can do, language would be the easiest, but language doesn't feel right either. That doesn't feel like the right. That doesn't feel like the correct wording either, because normally, again, in any other world it would be, and it would be English effectively. A lot of the time it would be like, what's it, it's the English side, and it would be very easy. But speech, he's literally me, some lolly from Habidos. We want to do oration could work, but oration, I feel oration's a little bit, would be more speechy. That would be like something covering a lot of, it needs to cover a lot of different, I guess lecture could work. No, that doesn't work. Discourse. I guess speech. Speech is literally the best option we have, so I'm gonna go with it. So, okay. So, this is kind of one of those things as well, where we sit here and we think, and we say, what would be the best here? And I have no fucking clue, because there's no good answer. Because, fuck me, that's not how things work. But pretty much, this is the D100 section. And what I was thinking was, each of the skills are effectively going to be D100, are going to be out of, they're going to be percentiles effectively, and it's going to be your attribute times like 5 for your initial amount, unless you have a tag skill, quote tagged skill. I don't really have a better word for it. A tag skill, which is going to be like times 10 then. You're going to have a few skills which you are like clearly better at than other students, at the cost of being a lot worse at some, kind of like being like you're kind of deficient in other aspects. Because think about it, if you have a 5 in something and you tag it, it goes up to 50%. If you have, if you're really bad at a skill and you tag it, it's only going to go up maybe like 20%. That's kind of the idea there. So it's like, you can get up to like, oh, I have an 80% in this. However, you don't have... Actually, we changed speech to combat training. No, we changed speech to drill and put all the like speech stuff in civics. That could work. So that's what actually, how does Fallout tag skills? Tell me more about tag skills. The rate of an skills double the rate. Tag skills only give a 15 spent boost. Yeah, so you just get a raw boost, or they increase faster at a faster rate. So I'm thinking like we just get a pretty, like, so I want skills to be fairly high, but you're not going to be upgrading them as reliable. From there, I'm either pretty much, I've got 2 options as well. Like if we, tag, the advancement, like we do like advancement, if we could either go down we can effectively do 2 options. We can either go the BRP method, which is slow, which is gradual advancement up to a certain point, or kind of like a level advancement symbol, like you're level 2, because you are level 2, you are a better combatant. Actually, we could, we could merge this, so it'd be let's see, combat skills increase by using them, studying, or let's see, studying or testing, slice, event based, which we can, if we really want, we can make a reoccurring theme of duality. If we do this, we make it a reoccurring theme of duality throughout the entire game. So it's kind of like the idea of you are effectively combat trained soldiers, but you're also schoolgirls. You have D100 skills, but D2, 2D10 combat skills. You have 2 health bars, but one, you have 2, one of your health bars is incredibly durable, but the second it's broken, you're in the danger zone, and it's very easy to get to there. Your gun is going to kind of go up with you depending on your veterancy. I could see effectively, you can be have terrible skills, but be a very good veteran, and that's going to be kind of like a situation that you might find yourself in. Alright, that could work. We can maybe combine testing with... What we could probably do is, if you want to advance a tier, you're going to need to take tests. But tests are going to be a skill check, so you want to use your skills more often. You're trying to build up your skills, and we can actually probably nick that from Schola Maleficarum a little bit. The idea is that every player is going to choose every player is going to choose something they want to test, and that's going to be a test for them. But everybody has to take the test, so it's kind of like, hey, I'm really good at driving. You know, I'm really good at, driving. We need to literally study up on driving for all of you hopeless fucks. You are all hopeless. We need to study up on this immediately, or we will fail. Or it's like, hey, you're really good at tactics. Shit. None of us are good, but you're also our squad leader. You have to help us study. Kind of thing. That could be like, you gotta take a test to advance, maybe? I don't fucking know. But best part is, today we're just going over everything, so good job, team. That's this is the current schizo notes for the Blue Archive TRPG. On Wednesday, we get to sit down longer and worry about them more. But we're not gonna worry about them more right now. 0014. If we go to Crisis God. Oh boy, it's been a while since I looked at caps. Hello caps. Hello caps, it's been a while. To give you an idea of how old caps is at this point, Caps was created about 3 years ago at this point. This is a very old game, and it fucking shows. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Yeah, welcome to my nightmare. Hello, Mom. My mother loves sending me Instagram memes. Like, I can open them. I've told her before, but I don't think she quite understands I can't open Instagram memes. I don't think she quite understands that I physically cannot look at her Instagram memes she sends me because I don't have an Instagram account. Because I'm not a cretin. But I'm going to click on it and then watch it for a few minutes and then reply with haha. So give me one moment. Okay, haha responded with. Yeah, welcome to Crisis Averted, President Saved. My, probably one of the goofiest games I've written, and I'm just gonna make a copy real fast. And I'm gonna mark this real fast, which I'm going to literally say slated for reduxing. I'm just gonna put that. Yeah, you can kind of see. Yeah, this was an early one. It was very early. No, Notepad, what have you been doing? Oh no. Oh no. So let's see. So this was the opposed check system. Yeah, so this was the opposed, this is an opposed check system. It's a little bit goofy, but effectively the idea behind this game would be like, hey, you're going to do an intermediate average check, and you're like, okay, I've got my D10, a D6, and a D8. I'm going to roll my dice, and I'm going to roll, well, I rolled a 7 on the difficulty, I rolled a 7, 8, I rolled a 13 on my dice, I succeed. But everything is kind of random. Literally, you could have a masterclass insane difficulty and roll a 6. Just things go your way. It's great. Integrate comedy more into the writing than this. Yeah, as an agent of a clandestine alphabet agency. Maybe write in actual clandestine alphabet agency that is clearly a stand-in for other bullshit. Oh god, yeah, this was very early Notepad where he didn't write things properly or wrote things. Actually, he wrote things properly, but it's like, you have 3 skills. This is exactly how they're exactly how everything is supposed to be. Yeah, this is, I don't know why it's written like this. It's terrible. Why are you written like this? Like, this is, when it says analytics here, and this isn't a skill. This is just analytics. Why is it written this way? Why are you written this way, you goddamn cretin? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get rid of this. I believe I still have it, but god damn. Why is everything so bad? No. We're not doing a full, like, go through it, but do you have a copy of the game posted somewhere? Do I have a copy of Caps? Yeah, if you go to my website, you can find Caps. It'll be this version, but that's why I always make a copy. I make a copy of all the games I'm reduxing just in case somebody wants the old version for whatever reason. Yeah. Like, I'm just gonna be, this is gonna be like my first once over, and I'm just gonna do like little things like this I kind of immediately notice. God. Tables, Notepad. Officer Bernie can fake a guard being alive if they are dead to avoid critical evidence being found. Only works with operation. Cleaner. Operative's meticulous nature allows created and zoned by one if does not affect critical evidence. Computers, math, the job of busy work and risking your life, parts of the job. So yeah, then we have the escalation. Yeah, okay, so let's see. Escalation can be decreased if the actions are taken less than instead of high evidence or disregard. Moving from escalation 3 to 4. Alerted of, raise to alert from suspicious. Maybe overhaul? I don't know. Because I'm that kind of guy. Let's see. Rules quality of the guards, current escalation die, and the die value of the amount of evidence spread around. Because the entire concept of caps is how do you make a stealth action game in a tabletop form? Because everyone who said it said don't. You don't do it, or you make it really, quote, cinematic with such popular games such as Blades in the Dark. I said no, fuck that. And the entire idea, what I noticed in a lot of these stealth action games, is one of the major things I notice is that it's not necessarily about... It's mostly about how you move through places. Because if you really play something like Splinter Cell, for example, Splinter Cell is effectively a game about moving through a location, trying to avoid as much problem and trying to avoid as much detection as possible. And if you do get into an actual fight, if you do get into a thing where we need to go against one another, you can get out of it by shooting the person. There is a problem, I've shot you. But now you've created a problem for yourself right there. How do we now deal with it? Drag it into another room, put it away, try to do something like that. And I kind of I'm going to try to take some inspiration from the newest Hitman games. The Hitman trilogy, I guess you would call it. The new Hitman trilogy, I guess you would call it, including Blood Money, because Blood Money is the greatest game. Blood Money is the best Hitman game. I don't care what anyone says. I like Hitman 2, the new one. No, Hitman Blood Money is the best Hitman, by far. But one of the ideas is, hey, I need to move to a location, I need to do something, and I need to get out of it. And it's mostly about, hey, I look the part, I'm supposed to be here, no one's gonna give a shit. I'm in a zone, I'm in a location, nobody cares that I'm here. Or no one's around to care if I'm here. There are no cameras, I'm not bringing up any evidence, no alarms going off, but guards are on patrol constantly. Every action you do, the world is going to do something as well. If you say, I am going to wait, the guard patrol is going to keep moving. Time is ticking by. Time is saying, hey, you are moving from A to B to C. And then when you're done with C, you go back to A. That is your patrol. And every time you increase the problems going on, they might be a little bit more diligent. They're going like, it's like if it's like, hey, there is someone clearly here that they are fucking around, they've killed somebody, be on high alert. Even the fucking donut patrol is going to be really diligent. And they might not be able to fight you, but they're going to call someone who can fight you. And that's usually the case in those games. It's the cock-up cascade. That's what you want to avoid. You want to avoid fucking up early on to prevent people from escalating the situation to a point where you can no longer succeed. For as long as possible, but when if a guard patrol spots them, interact. Twitchy guards are well. A batch of favela gangsters are not going to be inclined with dealing with people sneaking around, so they might be soldier rank even if they have poor training. Yeah, so it's kind of like, hey, like if you have a bunch of donut patrol if you have a bunch of rent-a-cops, they are going to be a little bit more like lenient on things. They're like, am I really seeing that? Nah. Or you can just be like Batman and just stare them down and be like, you know what? No, I don't see jack shit. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. CCTV. Manned by security guards gives an area near 24/7 cover, allowing one person to keep tabs on multiple areas. CCTV, then any action committed raises escalation by an additional step. The cameras are knocked out, triggering a guard patrol and leaving evidence. Security room is dealt with. Shaking the martini. Maybe. Let's see, shaking martini. Put in more shaking martini and let's see. No. Put in more shaking martini and on the rocks notes to differentiate more ridiculous or real situations. Effectively, we're going to be using drinks. So shaking the martini is going to be, let's put that a little bit more. Evidence, a reaction, equal opposite reaction. There's no different. This is no different on mission. Everything leaves physical evidence behind raises the chance of being spotted and raising the escalation further. Evidence is left behind when something is not dealt with properly or hidden away. Severity of the evidence stacks up gradually, adding to the guard's overall ability to spot agents. Some evidence of critical evidence does not increase guard chance of finding the agent, but immediately raises escalation by 2 whole levels. Critical evidence is dead bodies, left behind guns, or brazen showing of the agent's activities. VIPs to be quickly ushered out or guarded. If critical evidence is found during a mission, alarmed, or hunting phase, it immediately raises to engage and will not fall until the mission is over. Agents eliminated. Gunning down civilians in broad daylight is not a good idea to keep a low profile. There'll be times when agents or players make bad moves. The notepad, isn't that just critical evidence? There comes a point when you, the operation director, has to follow the narratives and story present. Someone becomes a psychopath, treat it like them becoming a belligerent psychopath. Sometimes, that's the point. Let's see. These guys are tried and true. Each guy presenting authenticity and ability to actually wear it. The 6'5 Commando is not going to be built like a freight train. It's not going to be able to pass as the 5'3 supermodel as well. Maybe they'll recognize their own. Longer it stays in the zone, the members with members of the skies, the lower rank falls. People begin wondering where Ted, the security guard, went. Who's this mysterious new guy who's wearing Ted's clothes? These guys do mitigate the effect, but one has no manners, quirks of who they are in person. Work once before they expended, meaning that we need to we need it. I need their own rules for cardboard boxing. Let's see. Categories. Possible to complete. Exfiltrate. Exfiltration process will leave the area and getting safety extraction. Getting a taxi and heading home, or it's complicated as having to engage in a high-speed chase while being hunted by the private military. Come for their data back. Chase mechanics. I need chase mechanics. Notepad, please do that. Please do that. Past notepad, putting in notes for future notepad to deal with. Okay, tick combats were things. Emotion would say being on tick 4. Every time character. All ticks in the combat round, but actions can roll over into the second round. Done to effective resolving at the end of round, as well as giving clear indication of 12 ticks have gone by. I'm fun for 6 ticks on tick 8. I know I'll regain control of myself at tick 2. So it's a nice number. The word interrupted has the opportunity to select a new action, but the original one is completely locked. It takes 5. Faster action take less ticks, slower action take more. Then is action, no kicks or roll system cells, easy to interrupt. So actions, dedicated. Specific can move with the hope of resolving combat encounter quickly. When an agent commits to an action, unless they are interrupted, they cannot stop an action once. Dice are used, which are successful account for all dice, which are successful account for all dice over the value of the opponent. Rolls a 5. If the enemy rolls a 5, and the agent, I'm going to put the words "Nani the pizza" here, and we're just going to leave it at that. Ability or tool. Close quarters combat. Flurry of kicks, punches, grabs will tend to disrupting the enemy, rendering them unconscious. What occurs if the defender is successful, they can opt to continue the action or not by knocking down the agent or determine the outcome. Pummel, punch action, but apply lethal damage, restrain, throw, choke out, break out, but after 12 ticks they are rendered unconscious. Firearm attack. It's attacked with a currently held firearm. Damage mitigated by wearing body armor or other protective gear. It's a single shot from the weapon. Increased accuracy and ability. Adds a second firearm skill die to their roll. Burst fire. Double the number of dice which are successful, but the enemy receives stacking bonus die outside the firearm range. Extended actions. Counter hunker down. Oh Jesus, I forgot we have space distance in this game. Now! Notepad, the tiger is suffocating, Notepad. No, it's not. You don't understand. He's seen the war. He's been out there for too long. The zone has taken him. He knows what he signed up for. He knows why he's out here. Maybe none of us deserve to be out here. Let's see. Change position. Play it by ear. That's never a good sign in a game. When the dev is like, just play it by ear. Crouching, plus 1 to take the move or maneuver. Again, plus D8 firearm attacks. Ground does not do nothing. Into cover. Maneuver, move. Health, blunt trauma. Conjured by agents are not mortal beings that can tank anything without care. Human, squishy, fragile humans. Bruises, with 10 blunt trauma. They will enter shock, dying soon after. Uncanny cat.png. Why. Fun fact, this is from Person of Interest, which I really like. Lost to the zone. He does not feel safe without the mask, and I do not blame him. Oh god, this is really old SD2. Oh no. Deal with the target in a stealthy manner. Stealth takedowns to they can beat the guard or die in a roll. Bottom line with them quickly dragged away. Any lethal range attack performed stealth grant 10 always is immediately lethal unless the avoid bloodshed, immediately to 0 blunt trauma, but more morally ambiguous, may freely eliminate those. Gunfire and escalation. Yes, every gunshot will increase by this. Silencers, the thing will inevitably heat up quickly. Getting into a gunfight is bad. Opening up full auto without a silencer is a pretty good indicator that something is going wrong. Let's see. Equipment. Specific guns. Good news, bad news. Effect placeholder, bad news. This is placeholder that'll remain for a while. As design, not really getting into fights as much as traditional games. Going full gung-ho with guns wasn't much a high use priority. Perhaps Child, which as writing seems to be working as intended, is Aces. Which is going to be more super spy, more super operator. It'll also be more guns. Feel free to edit and play around in your stats if you please. It's designed for play over realism. Fun fact, Aces has never seen the light of day in 3 years. Aces has been that game which has been just sitting there forever. for a variety of reasons. The main reason Aces has been not worked on is very simply, there's a, like, how do I want to word this? Aces is a bitch, and I know it's going to be a pain in the ass, because we're going to go into gun autism. We're going to go into hardcore, unfun gun autism. And that gun autism is going to need to be me using the tick combat system for people to understand things like just moving. Is the goal with Aces is to simulate a kill, is to make sure a kill house function. That would be the sample mission. You are going to run through a kill house. Someone fell for the meme. Nah, it's a Notes reference. It's, how do I want to word it? Aces was, I drafted up Aces. Aces have been on the list a few times. Nobody really, really seems to, like, that's the thing I want. I don't doubt why. It was literally put on the list because, Melon said something annoying, and he was being a little bitch at one point, so I was like, I'm being really fucking petty, and I was just going to write a gun autism game with the sole purpose of pissing him off. That was going to be the idea. And there's no other reason for its existence other than, Melon pisses me off sometimes. There's no other, like, deeper meaning behind it. That's really it. And if Melon is here... Oh, please shut the fuck up, Melon. Like, I don't have autism. I've checked. Shut up, you weird gun autist. Like, shut up. But yes, let's see. Blunt edged. Yeah, it's things like this. Like, guns are very simple. And I purposely made guns very simple to understand because I wanted them to be very simple. You also get things like, some of them aren't perfect. Like, I've been trying to find, like, the ideal state of being for, like, a carbine, for example. One of the things you have to consider is that, you have 10 lethal health. Getting shot with a gun is very bad for your health. Getting shot in general is a bad idea. Especially when you start dealing with things like the shotguns, for example, because shotguns have this. Doubles the amount of damage the weapon does. So technically, if you get up to close range on them, this goes from about 3 to about 15 damage, which is automatic death pretty much. Like you can go to automatic death on some of these because you just take a shit ton of damage. I remember Atomic Blonde was popular, so I kept putting Atomic Blonde images. You also get to see a lot of the. This is from a comic book called Super Chic. I liked it. Kind of a goofy one, but like Carbine. I like Carbine. Besides Rise with some good comedy RPGs, I've been considering basic roleplay with the Late Show or modifying the Maid system. Maid is probably one of the better comedy RPGs because it's built around the idea of being a bit goofy. If you want like Toon, if you're going for like specifically like Toon stuff, the game called Toon works. I believe there's another alternative one. There's like Toon, but not. I can't remember what it is. You can also convert things like God, what's that game? Spectrum does it. Having a fucking stroke. Cartoon Action Hour is another good one. Yeah, by Spectrum Games. There we go. Cartoon Action Hour is another pretty good one. Yeah, Cartoon Action Hour. Very goofy series of games, but most everything Spectrum makes is a little goofy. They have quite a few different games, as you can kind of see. And it's like genre emulation. That is their like main thing they do. Like 4-color heroics. I tried really hard to like what was it? Wild West Cinema. Wild West Cinema was a weird game. I remember that just being weird. And Biff Bam Kapow. I actually have Biff Bam Kapow if we ever do get voted in. If we ever vote fucking the superhero cases, we will be doing Biff Bam Kapow because it's just funny to say. But yeah, that's kind of those are the ones that come to mind immediately. All move actions are increasing tick duration by the armor penalty. Guard patrols gain a bonus detecting if they wear armor. Some armor is obvious. We need to redo. There we go. Romv. A bit more detailed. Twice as cool. 0014 is twice as cool as 007. That is entirely from a movie with Matt Damon in it called The Informant. That is the entire line. Recurring. Spectrum is goofy? No. Well, Hero, beyond Soup's case. Or not. The Hero is not in the Super's case, actually. That's one game I, like, specifically said, no, we're not going to put on the Super's case. Let me see if I can find the Super case. The main thing with it is that it's very... Hero is one of those things where you need to very specifically go over Hero because it's very intricate and very weird. I will get to be able to talk about, when we do the Super's case, 2 games which I find to be art pieces, which is Underground, which is such a goofy fucking premise. Effectively, the entire point of this, like, the entire purpose of this game is that you are super soldiers returning from a war, but you are all corporate super soldiers, so, like, someone was effectively like, a McDonald's super soldier. That was, like, the joke, is everyone's just weird super soldiers and terrible human beings to one another. It also takes place in 2020, such as Neo-Deutschland and the Neo-Vatican. Yeah, good times. I like the Neo-Vatican in Nicaragua. People's Republic of Quebec. The moon. There's a bit of goofy shit that you can do in there. I also get to talk about Super Babes, which is the funniest fucking thing in the world. This is a FemForce. This is literally to give you an idea, FemForce is a comic. It was a comic series way back in the day. I don't think they're still published. But the entire idea of FemForce was that it's a bunch of female superheroes, but they're all dressed up weird because that's what corporate sponsors want. Like, that's the entire thing with FemForce, is that it's a squad of superheroic females, superheroic women, but they're put together because of corporate bullshit going on. And it's just like, yes, you have to wear this ridiculous outfit. Not because you want to, but because that's what's going to give us some money and sponsorship. Very goofy, very silly. We also have like Cold Steel Wardens. This is one of those games I would like to go over because it's just weird. Like, it's a cool idea, it's just, what the fuck? Why don't they have There's a reason for everything, because, like, technically, like, the company that does superheroes is the company they're trying to sponsor. That's the reason. We've got Enforcers. Enforcers is pretty old. Tokyo Heroes is one. There's a few of them. Tokyo Heroes, I kind of just want to go over because it's an Ewan Clooney game, and, as we all know, Ewan cannot make anything good. All Ewan makes is bad, so, everything Ewan touches is bad, I've learned, and it's actually very impressive how he can do. There's a couple other ones. Like, there's a bunch of games I would want to go over for the super case, but just nobody really wants to. Yeah, squad caps, caps experience, common for the caps experience. Yeah, technically we also had solo, like, I did put in a solo mode. I also put in, I also put in agency mode. Agency mode is very weird. Where effectively you are sending agents at one another, because agents are pretty simple to make. And you're pretty much playing solo with a bunch of agents, but against other people's operations, as you're all playing different agencies. I might expand that out, I might not. I might expand it out just to be a different solo agent, who knows? Codec call. Half of me wants to implement more, half of me wants to implement more nanomachines and parasites and, like, more bullshit from MGS, and the other half of me doesn't. So that's going to be kind of one of those things that I need to work on. That's one of those ideas, like, I can do this. This is going to be really easy. I'm like, this isn't going to be easy at all. What am I doing with my life? Like, oh no! Actually, should do. Oh. Only 0 saved. Okay, that does lead me to the next game on our little list, which was Fear and Hunger Forgotten Chronicles. So yeah, this is one I try to translate into make copy, because they do offer you a agency management system. Feels like it could be open up the whole other game into itself. Maybe it's like a sister game to when you're playing as, yeah, like the entire idea behind agency mode was kind of a weird idea, but I'm like, it could technically work, because it's every player is effectively playing an agency and sending people on missions, but you're opposing agencies trying to, like, undermine one another with different missions. Like, that was supposed to be kind of like a weird gimmick, because it's not a complicated game. It really isn't. Because ideally, you never get into combat. You should never get into combat. It has the most rules, but it's something like, if you're in combat, things have gone wrong. And, like, that's one of the reasons they need to expand certain aspects of the game out. Because, like, yeah, this is the, why is there a copy of this? Oh, it's 11 pages, that's why. I don't need you, I guess, anymore. Let's move you to trash. Fear and Hunger, Solus and Samino. Yeah, we're gonna keep that. Yeah. For those curious, if I remember correctly, it's Alone in it was I think it was Alone in the Dark. It would be what was it? Spell it right? I probably didn't spell it right because I'm a silly Billy and I sometimes spell things. Well, listen, there was a really good fucking name for it though. It was Alone in something. I think it was like Alone in the Dark. Let's do Alone. No, it wasn't. No, what was it? Alone in the. No, I can't remember what. Mino. What did I mean by that? It came up with a great fucking name before, but I can't remember what it is now, because I'm a silly Billy. But I do say buy Fear and Hunger here. Buy fucking Fear and Hunger. This was before Termina was even announced, mind you. This was a long time before Termina was announced. He had actually no, I take that back. Samino, some Neo, probably. I wouldn't be surprised if it's I'll see it's I just wrote it down being like, this is what it is. Oh, that's what it is. It's Solus in Samino, Alone in a Dream. Samino, some Neo, not some Neo. There we go. Solus in Samino. Neo. Yeah, the entire idea was that you're alone in the dream, kind of a thing. Because it's supposed to be a lot more weird. The main, I should say, I will admit I haven't played Termina yet. But I've gone over. I just haven't really had the time or desire to play Termina. Let's see. But can you achieve Chim? No. In Fear and Hunger, you don't want to achieve Chim. That is the worst state of a being you could physically find yourself in. Like, that is bad. Let's see. This is actually Notepad D20. We're going to be remajiggering Notepad. Notepad D20 quite a bit. There's a time when the term coin flip is used. We'll take a heads or tails. If successful, the result is averted. If failed, it is not. Each player has a lucky coin they can flip alongside the base coin of session. Only one has to be successful. Fumbles. Let's see. Characters are tormented souls. Individuals doing evil power mad and wanderlust. These wanderings have led them to enter the dungeon. While it may be different, the tormented find themselves drawn to one another, if only to kill one another or find purpose against the old gods. Characters are composed of three main parts: attributes, fates, and skills. Attributes form core strength and weaknesses of the tormented. Fates show the chaotic nature of the tormented and their allies, and skills determine what they are able to do in and out of combat. Firstness, eruditeness, adroitness, and resolve. As human, but strange connections and mystic rituals may increase or decrease them. We need to read. We're going to be doing. I will probably put S for like skillfulness or something. Like Fierza. And then we have love, fate, and determination, luck, occult, vitality, and evils. Unrolled under or over their fate, succumb to it or avoid its disastrous consequences. Skills. When attributes are natural, skills are earned to the trade, allowing tormented to try this for second place. When skills outside world are useless inside of these haunted grounds, fill the void of enlightenment. Skills fall in 3 main categories: actions, knowledge, magics, and training. Probably rework in skill sets and give tormented. I even state how many you. I barely even state how many you get. It's great. Let's see, archetypes. Each of the tormented come an archetype that reflects that they are and how they got into the dungeon. Not only does the archetype give the starting attributes, fates, and skills, also an initial piece of equipment they will begin their adventure with. Once you enter the dungeon, this archetype is the last connection they have to embrace it or reject it. It is theirs and theirs alone. Tormented characters start categories for love and fear, choosing a small number of skills, and finally their. I only have 5, if I recall correctly, because there is. You end up with the adherent, which can be you can be a cleric, an occultist, or a zealot, and then from there a servant of the faith, a mystic, or a firebrand. So if you're a cleric firebrand, you'd end up with 0101 with 515 515. But if you play a zealot, you can get some of the other one. Holy Book, one of the gods of the dungeon, 3d6 coins. And we have the knight errant, squire, veteran, inner white knight. Skill. Mercenaries, hello Kahara, my beloved. Lucky bastard. Sumerious skills. Outlander. Because I remember, because they had introduced the Scholar. This was like one of the very few characters we knew from Termina. They were all about having a lot of skills, because the other Termina characters... yeah, because all of these are like, you have a lot more characters in general. In this one, like, oh, she's a mechanic, while you also have things like oh, you want to play Henrik. Henrik is like a very different character than anyone else. Like, oh no, here's Tanaka. Hi Tanaka, how you doing, buddy? You're gonna die. Or hey, you want to play Marok. What does Marok do? Drugs. He does drugs and punches you. That's his superpowers. What's your power, my friend? It's doing a lot of drugs. Good job. It's great. Yeah, then you get things like a bunch of other people like down here. You've got some of them. The Ascended One, Gorgoroth, Sylvan, the God of Fear and Hunger. Various other problems in Termina. Because like you have a lot more things in Termina, including a lot more guns. Like there's a lot more... How do I want to word this? You can do things in this game that are very different than others because the timeline has advanced. Because like, hey, I have a rifle now. Bringing a gun up and just popping a motherfucker is possible in Termina. The problem is it's also very fucking cheap. It's also very expensive, and you don't want to do that. So it's like, hey, like, I don't really want to use, like, my guns very much, but I'm gonna have to put guns in because guns are here and you can shoot them, but they take ammo, but do you have enough ammo? Various other kind of, time has advanced. That's kind of one of the bigger things with this. Time has very clearly advanced from the original Fear and Hunger. So, kind of implementing a bunch of things at once should work pretty easily. That's going to be kind of the goal in that that idea. Have no fear. Such as being able to do heroin. You know, heroin. So I'll probably have to add another class. Probably end up doing... Again, we're going to have to change some of the fundamental ideas behind thing. To get up an armor too, but that's half the fun. And be mean, be nasty, but never cheat the system. If it bleeds, it can die. Brain damage, bleeding. We could probably add in some more things here. Be like, yeah, hey everyone, you have severe physical trauma. Hey, you have a shattered bone. Have fun. Haha. Haha, hee hee, hoo hoo. Anything BA comes up later stream at me because I'm going to be playing OSC. Yes, go play OSC. Be productive. Oof. He's only mostly dead. Oh, medicines and tinctures. We can probably start adding more items here. I think, like, the main thing with Feared Hunger is going to be adding stuff. And I'm also going to be adding some more, most likely what will occur is I'm going to be adding stuff, and I'm going to be remajiggering some ideas. Kind of giving it its own ideals and own problem. Mostly when it comes to, yeah, the doctor, bishops, and surgeon clerics of the cult understand that Mother Infirme's gifts are a sign of good fortune and strong body. Therefore, actually curing diseases is more important than preventing them. Let's see. Blind and seeing. The call of power, rights, and spells. We're going to probably have to, we need more just. I think that'll be very helpful. Then yeah, now we have like quite a bit of like how to do various rooms. Yeah, beats and bosses. Yes, this is actually one of the very few games where I put enemy creation charts. I should add a header traits for traits here. I will. Just for you. Final nail. Innocence and corrupted. Tormented will die. Corrupted. So, one of the weird exceptions of this game is that you're going to die pretty fucking easily. So I want to bring in, like, this is mostly going to be a stuff game. Like, I want to bring in things like bombs. I want to bring in the idea of just having a gun, having, you know, various issues to deal with. It's, hey, congratulations, you have a film now. And it's like, what do you want to do with that idea? Ta-da! Yeah, so I think that's going to be kind of the plan there. Feeling confident, but, you know, confidence is a slow and insidious killer, as you know. And then Nero Beat. Okay, we got Nero Beat. So, Nero Beat is... This was a pretty far one out, but I'm going to just kind of do some basics ideas on it. Because the concept is that it is it's a cyberpunk, cyberpunk, but more accurately, it's going to be psychic cyberpunk. That's going to be kind of the idea. But if I want to be a little bit more specific, it's going to be psychic post-cyberpunk. Pretty much that the corpse already won. Something, you know, things are not as good as they can be. There we go. Because at its core, it's actually a cop drama. That's the secret. This is a game about cop being cyberpunk police. Cyberpunk police simulator. Because, like, one of the, to me anyway, is I'm going to need to really get an idea of, because it's going to be a psychic police simulator as well. And someone, this is actually Ethical brought this up, which is kind of an interesting premise, is you very specifically have the ability to read someone's mind. And my one restriction on this is you must be close and you must be touching them. You must be able, effectively, you have to touch them. That is the one requirement to really activate your fucking superpower, the fucking psychic powers. The thing is with it, there's a lot of deduction that goes into it of who and what and where, because you also are going to be able to use a lot of fairly traditional psychic powers like telekinesis and shit. It's just that, yes, one of the big things is you getting admittance of guilt from someone's head is very valid. The problem is, its Rashomon effect is going to be kicking in. It's going to be, you're going to be having to be dealing with the idea that people are unreliable and don't remember things well. And so it's like, hey, you need to still solve a case. What if we have a case where you specifically know who you're looking for? And it's like, well, it should be really easy, but this is also a cyberpunk nightmare zone. So that's kind of the idea there. I don't like a non-traditional, like, I kind of looking for a non-traditional cyberpunk setting. It's a little bit weird to say, but I want to look at a cyberpunk setting that is not Japan or America. Do you need a permit to read someone's mind? You're the police. You don't need a fucking permit. It's the idea what I was kind of having is either A, we go to Singapore, or B, because I do plan on setting it a little bit further in time than the 2090s or the 2060s. I do plan on setting it a little bit further in the future because it is post-cyberpunk. One of the other ideas is was setting it in what was it? It was Neom. If I wanted to be really snarky, I could set it in Neom. This is Neom, a super city built by the Saudi Arabians. They want to effectively the Prince Mohammed, I can't remember his full name. He wants to build effectively a city called Neom, very specifically right here. He wants to build it right kind of on the eye, like kind of right little bit of everywhere. And it's going to be connected to the line. You know, the gigantic city line that he was like, this is what this is going to be. Yeah, that's where he wanted to set it. This is going to be the full Neom line. It was going to be this entire huge city. I was thinking about what if we set it in Neom? And just like, that's kind of the thing, like the line and everything is just built. Like that's the final fuck you to society. We've built the perfect city and things just go wrong. Africa and go full Wakanda. That Arabs, it tickles me that the Arabs want to build a proto-hive city. Hey, Draco. It's, the thing is, like, here's the thing with, like, Arabia. The crown prince, I can't remember his full name. Actually, let me bring up the prince's full name so we all know. Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Let me bring up his full name. Mohammed bin Salman Al Saud is technically, or MBS, is the crown prince and current prime minister. He has very weird politics. MBS is a weird dude. This is an important thing you must know about MBS. He is a very weird dude. Because he is very much a forward thinker, but he is also very much a Saudi royal. And he views everything through that lens. Because he's like, hey, people are, Saudi Arabia's economy is so dependent upon oil. What if we try to build a super green city and just like create a situation where we can use our own power to, power our own economy and stuff and create effectively the city of the future today. And it's like, oh, that's pretty cool. How are you gonna fund it, MBS? How are you funding it? Oh, I locked all of my relatives in a hotel under threat of death if they leave without telling me, but if they paid a ransom for themselves of their billions of dollars, I would let them go. Oh, all right, MBS, that's cool. Oh no. What are you talking about, Neom? I was thinking about setting it for a post-cyberpunk setting. I think it would be kind of neat to set it there because Neom is such a weird, horrifying city concept, along with the line, that setting it as a cyberpunk nightmare would be very interesting. Neom wouldn't happen though. If he got his way, here's the thing, if MBS got his, they're already starting construction on the line. But we're also looking at cyberpunk nightmare future, so I can do whatever the fuck I feel like. Technically, most cybernetics are, here's the funny thing. Most bullshit you see when it comes to, like, cyberpunk stuff is effectively impossible. Like, oh, what about my cyber limbs and all that shit? That's like, your body doesn't like it. So I'm like, Neom is just about as likely as most cyberpunk bullshit. And I think it'd be interesting to explore that idea because I want to make a cyberpunk setting that is not especially in Japan or in the US. Musktopia on Mars, make Twitter hellscape cyberpunk nightmare. But I don't want to set it on Musktopia because Elon's gonna go bankrupt by then. because Elon can't help but burn money. That or he'll be shot. Like, I'm not like saying this as a threat. Like, I have a strange and beautiful feeling some nut job is going to just like walk up to Elon Musk one day, pull out a fucking snub-nosed 38 and pop him 4 times in the chest. And it's like, oh, Elon Musk is dead because somebody assassinated him because he wants, I don't know, fucking he wants Elliot Page to look at him or something. Like that, like, ta-da. I specifically want to go for more of a, not necessarily dark. Like, I don't want to, again, it's like, I don't want to necessarily make it like memey, but I want to make it darker. Because at its end of the day, it's going to be a noir game. Because it's about psychic cops. That is the basic premise of this. It is about psychic cyberpunk cops. Mostly blazed. A little bit integrating the Blade Runner RPG, kind of integrating kind of like the time system a little bit, because like just kind of get the idea of like, there's a case, you need to solve the case pretty quickly, but it's like there's a very certain time limit on most things. You're part of the Nero beat, effectively. You know, your time moves as fast as memory does. And like one of the big things what I want to do is that like you are slowly going bonker. That makes sense. Is Deus Ex the only cyberpunk thing? I think so. Like, it's really because people want the cybernetics and stuff. Also, Notepad, what are you building here exactly? This is just one of the games that won. It is the last game, actually. That one is this won't happen for a few months at best. Pretty much like the idea for either of them I was kind of having was something happens and it's made it kind of super, very, very globalist. And kind of like an issue that's kind of goes along with that. Like you have a very like, here is like you. Like it's like, here is you very much. Like this is like your home turf that you know about, you know, and then you look over ways and it's like, hey, there's a very different thing. You know, there are other people here. That was kind of like the other idea of Singapore. The idea with Singapore was, off the coast of Singapore, about 150 miles is the world's it's kind of like there's a massive space elevator in the Malaysian and the Malaccan Strait, effectively. And like that's where the major space elevator is of the world. It's there, and everyone just banks through fucking Singapore now, and Singapore is now kind of like the cyberpunk hellscape. I've been kind of debating on like how I want to do things. What do I want to do? Because the idea of like psychic cyberpunk cops kind of pops in anywhere, so I want it to be a little bit more setting dependent and make it very, hey, Korea's the natural cyberpunk hellscape. Honestly, setting it in Korea wouldn't be a bad idea as well. I'd have to study up on my Korean a lot, but like we were actually having a very long discussion about this the other day, about really think of every cyberpunk books, settings, whatever. Really think about them. Where are they almost always set? They are almost always set in the United States or Japan. They're like, really think of some other like weird places to set things. It's hard, isn't it? Like, it's really actually difficult to think about it. I think a few are set in China, maybe. But yeah, you're doubting it, aren't you? It's like, are they maybe in China? And I bet you if they are in China, they're in Hong Kong. I bet you dimes for dollars they're in Hong Kong. Exactly, any country in the EU. Really think about it. Have you really thought, like, do you really think of a cyberpunk, like a cyberpunk setting or a cyberpunk game specifically set in a EU country? Like, I think, like, Deus Ex did a few times. Like, I think one of the Deus Ex was set in France, like, for, like, a mission, like, kind of thing. Like, you don't really hear that much about the other countries very much. It's mostly, again, Japan and the US. So I was like, what would cyberpunk fucking Brazil look like? Probably a little different. And a few games that mentions Europe. Oh, there's a source book for Cyberpunk 2020, but it's not the main focus. Why is Europe ignored in Cyberpunk though? Because it's not the home country of it. Like, that's honest to God. Like, Mike Pondsmith isn't from Europe. Mike Pondsmith is from the US. Very particular part of the US. Hey, where's like Ghost in the Shell take place? Ghost in the Shell is from Japan because that's where the author is from. It's for the Japanese audience. Like, that's not like, wow, big brains or anything like that. And this will most likely, that kind of pitch will most likely be the next scratchy throat, most likely be the next major it would be the next major not case. What am I fucking talking about? I'm having a goddamn game jam. That's it. Like, everything that is in the USA and the American continent, I understand because y'all do it the same. Africa, the Asia is the same because Asia, there's only Japan, Korea, China, and maybe India. But yeah, like, you don't really hear about what would be the next game jam. It would be write a very particular kind of cyberpunk game set in a country or set in a location that is not typically thought of to be a cyberpunk country. It's literally set it anywhere except Japan and the USA. Anywhere else, any other country, any other location. And the idea would be, do fucking research on wherever you want to be. What would Italian cyberpunk look like? And like, obtuse mechanics, it's like, there will probably be like one obtuse mechanic that it's like, yeah, you got to do this because that's what I always like doing because I like challenging you all. But it'll be mostly like, here is the core pitch of the game. Here's the core pitch. Now adapt it to legitimately anything else. Adapt it to a place in this beautiful world. Hey, do you want to set it in Cyberpunk Canada? What does this look like? Are we dealing with the biker wars again? The neo biker wars? If you want something hardcore, look at Canadian biker wars. That shit was nasty. Canadians weren't waving at each other, they were fucking popping one another. What would Cyberpunk Mexico look like? What would Cyberpunk France look like? What would Cyberpunk Norway look like? It's one of those things where you can be kind of funny about it, like, haha, Australia, emu war, ha 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 ha. But then you think about Australian crime and how there's a fuck ton of triads currently operating out of Australia. There's a fuck ton of crime in Australia. Not because they're former criminals, but because of where they are, and that's where they go to launder their fucking money. Or it's like, hey, what does like Yugoslavia look like? You joke about like, haha, Yugoslavia, haha, yuck, 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 yuck. Look, it's so much funny. It's so funny because it's Yugoslavia, but it's just like, that would be horrifying. You have the Balkans reunified. What happened? Why did it happen? Why are all the biker wars over there now going? Exactly. It's it's kind of like one of the ideas, like how Singapore, for example, Singapore has a really low crime rate because they pretty much don't believe in minimum crime. If you get caught smoking weed, you're going to the forever box and you're not coming out. They are very hard on crime. So a lot of like street kids don't do crimes. They just emulate criminals, like former criminals, to look cool. And that's an issue they've been dealing with. What if they came back? You know, what if this like old way of looking at things came back? Why would it come back? How does technology change things? That would be kind of the idea behind it. How do things change and how do things remain the same? And all the associated problems that go along with it. That's kind of one of the things with Neurobeat that I think would be interesting to handle. Would be, here's a completely weird location for a cyberpunk setting. Why is it here? How are we doing this here? What's going wrong and what's going right? And it's like, oh, everything is going wrong for a variety of reasons. And here's... that was, not Belize. It was one of the Central American states. I can see it. Wasn't Bitcoin, man. It was, El Salvador, that's it. It wasn't, yeah, I was like, is it El Salvador? It wasn't Belize. Yeah, it's like, yeah, what if, yeah, it's little things like that. Like, you can look deeper into individual countries and learn a lot about them. Kind of the idea what I wanted to do with Neurobeat. I don't really have a clear system for it yet, but the idea is you are breaking down. You can't really have cybernetics, because that's one thing I want to kind of emphasize is this is a cybernetic-less future for you anyway. Other people have cybernetics, but you can't have them because you have a brain implant that gives you psychic powers. But the problem is slowly and steadily, you're taking a shit ton of drugs to suppress your own brain, to suppress yourself. Because if you don't, you start hearing the thoughts of people around you. You start hearing their problems, issues, and it's that kind of that slow degradation of, I'm going to take some more pills to make sure that I'm going to be okay. And as your body breaks down to a point where you can't really function anymore. The idea of the Neurobeat is it would probably be a fairly small game, like you're just a few detectives on a big case, and like, this is the case we need to solve. You would effectively be like an SVU unit, being like, this is what we need to do, this is how we're going to do it, this is how you are going to do it. Have fun. Like, the main draw would be, we're fucking around with the setting a little bit and just having such a weird element inside of it that doesn't interact with it at all, because it's just normal. Everyone has accepted for years that psychic cops exist, and that's just a thing we deal with. But that's also like, we really don't allow cops into neighborhoods. Cops are really fucking scary because you have no idea which one is part of the Neurobeat. Which one is deliberately going to fuck your day up? What do you do if you do have cybernetics? Are there punks left? Not really. The punks lost, but there still are criminals who will do crime. That's kind of the idea. Like, the idealists are dead. Like, idealism is dead. The punks clearly lost, and it's kind of the moments after that. It's kind of the years following this big event that kind of like sealed the deal. That's why I was thinking about setting it in Neom for the a second Arab Spring. I think that would be an interesting way to kickstart the timeline. Effectively, was an Arab Spring, the second Arab Spring kicks off, or the third maybe, who knows, and it was fucking crushed. It was over before it began, and the city and the people and everything is kind of recovering from this uprising to save the world, and they failed. It was a complete disaster, and it's kind of like the people around it. What happens? Who is alive? Who isn't alive? And you're the cops. People do not like you because you crushed dreams. You crushed the dreams of a bunch of kids, and now it's like you weren't there probably, but it's kind of like that thing over over everything. Better example, the context very good because I had no idea about the city like most people, I guess. That's why I was thinking of like Neom, or like of the city of the future that was, like, here's this super cool cyberpunk city, and we could use the line and the various city-states along the line as a pretty big, nice, like, cyberpunk city without it. The big thing is this: I could have a cyberpunk city without there really being a city. I could just make shit up and go along with it. That's why I was thinking, like, what would if Neom was built, what would it be like? And I'm thinking it would probably be a fairly cosmopolitan city. It wouldn't be like Riata or anything like that. MBS wants people to fly in there and have a fun time along the line. He wants people to live on the line. He wants money to come in from the line directly into Riyadh. That's kind of the goal with that. He wants to turn Saudi Arabia into a tourist destination, which it'll be interesting when he takes power, effectively. Oh, hey, Notepad, what's up? This game looks... Yes, this is Nero Beat. We're currently, I was discussing the nature of cyberpunk in different locations and ideas, and one of the ideas of where to set this particular game was in Neom. Yes, the MBS's Super City in Arabia, because I think it would be kind of weird. It would be kind of a fun, weird setting to kind of like say, hey, this is a place that exists now because it's the future and we can do that. And here's all the fucking problems because of it. And this is after like a disastrous post-cyberpunk event, like that things went just... So I don't really have many mechanical foundations for it. Like at its core, it's again just it's a police simulator, but you're all psychics. And it's just cop drama. It's a cop drama with the kind of like part of me even wants to make it possibly like a solo RPG and make it just kind of like a one man mechanics. What do you want to make it more simple or more autistic? I don't really know yet, because on one hand I can make it very hand wavy when it comes to the psychic side of powers and things like that. On the other hand, we can go real detailed with things. We can make things really weird mechanically just with the basic premise of you are a psychic cop trying to solve crimes, and everyone probably has a gun and wants to shoot you because they hate you. But it's like, yeah, guns are illegal. What do we do with, what do we do when you have a gun and nobody else does? You have a lot of more power over people. The problem is, there's one of you and 20 of them. What's the plan now? And it's not, you really shouldn't be opening fire on people. It's a lot more about power dynamics in this game. Like, you have a lot of power over people, but they have power over you. And that's kind of the... I don't really know how I would want to look at it strictly mechanically. Because hell, I might find a game that's perfect for it. Right on. As always, open. I'm always the kind of person who likes hearing good ideas from people, and so more the merrier in that regard. Nothing is really set in stone for this particular game because we have so much stuff as well. Area effect stun gun. Whatever happened to area effect stun guns? I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about, Solid. That's the secret there, Chief. People are is Minority Report non-lethal? Oh, Minority Report. It would, yeah, leafy. Ah. Oh goodness. Let's see. But yeah, that's kind of the idea behind Nero Beat. Nothing too dramatic behind it yet, simply because I don't really know how I want to handle things. That's the secret there, kids. Sometimes you just don't know. But understanding that you don't know is sometimes the first step into trying to figure out an answer. So generally speaking, what I can do now is some basic commission notes, just to get some basic ideas down for them, because as you can kind of see right here, there are quite a few different commission notes, quite a few different commissions that are kind of set up for various. What comms do you have in the oven? If things go according to plan, we have the Alona commission. We are then going to be going into the Mountain Blade Crusader Kings commission, and then the Diesel Punk commission. These are the main three. Let me do a quick double check on do we have anything. This is Alona, the RPG. As you can kind of see here. Yeah, equipment quality. Yeah, little things like this for Alona. I have an idea because I did play Alona a little bit in Discord. Mountain Blade, let's fucking go. But yes, the basic premise of the Alona TRPG, for those who don't know, Alona is a Japanese roguelike. Is currently, I've kind of supplanted it as a kind of a D100 BRP plus extra bullshit. That's kind of the idea. A lot of extra bullshit. A lot pretty deep, like, I don't want to word it, a deeper emphasis on equipment, on kind of equipment quality, a very, I would say, much larger emphasis on it is a combat focused game, but you also have like mostly like followers, pets, gene monsters. So we're gonna have to kind of put in like a minor, I wouldn't say like a minor, but like a minor character system. So it's like, yeah, you have like a bunch of dudes helping you out because that's how you built your character, to have a bunch of dudes who are probably pretty fragile, but we can kind of work with that. Basic survival elements. I don't want to do too hardcore when it comes to survival elements, but they're going to have to be there. Non-permanent, I'm going to say just non-permanence of death. Non-permanence of death, because you can actually get back up fairly easily. And mostly we're going to be adapting most of Lona. We're going to be adapting most of Alone. Whatever we can find, we're going to attempt to adapt it. We're going to try to find, hey, there's a weapon, we're gonna try to put it in. Yeah, yes, you suck at Alona. Fuck you, Draco. I don't need this kind of emotional torment. The thing with Alona, I realized, is that there's just a lot of Alona, and it's like, let's learn about Alona. Oh, this just doesn't work because it's translated by a gibbon. This is just poorly translated. The musical. Oh, it's true. Like, yeah, like this is just poorly translated. Like, so this is one of those, this is one of those interesting notes is all. Interesting games. So let's open this up here real fast. I haven't really looked too deeply into most of these things because I need access to it. So we're not going to be doing that. So actually what I can do is we go here and then we here I'll be like, hello, it is Notepad, request access. So we're just going to do that real fast. But generally speaking, it looks like he hasn't put any like very strict notes in this yet, because it's like, let's see, a whole party of players rather than individual, Mountain Blade and Crusader Kings for a while. Fun fact, I don't really know what kind of system he's looking for, but one thing we can actually cite is a little bit of Birthright in there. I know for a fact we're going to have to put in some legacy mechanics. Legacy mechanics shouldn't be difficult. The mass battle stuff is going to be a little bit complicated, but I think I can do it. Why you ask Gold to give you Tism lore? You ain't got to play Blue Archive. You just suffer Scribble being autistic for... give you the Tism lore. You ain't got to play Blue Archive. You just suffer Scribble being autistic for a few hours. Because Alona is a very mechanical game. That is literally the reason. It is a very mechanical game. There are mechanics in it. And there are problems to deal with it. And I wanted to get a feel for how the game actually played. That's why. When you say, and I doubt you were that into roguelikes, you're looking at someone who sunk hours upon hours upon hours on end in Dwarf Fortress. I fucking love roguelikes. I just don't play them as much anymore for a variety of reasons. Either it was the best system to play mass battles. There is no good system for mass battles. I'm going to tell you that right now. There is not a single good game out there that does mass battles well, because I played a lot of other roguelikes as well. I played the Doom roguelike a lot. If you've never played Doom roguelike, try to find a version of it. It's a lot of fun, actually. Played the Castlevania roguelike a lot. That was a lot of fun. Actually, it was good. But I don't quite know how I want to, like, do it. Oh, by the way, but yeah. So that's my answer there, Zemfire. There is no good way to do a mass battle in a lot of RPGs, simply because of the nature of mass battles is not really conducive to role-playing games. Not even L5R. L5R does have elements of it. The issue with L5R's mass battle system does go into the fact the player characters die immediately. If you want to earn the most glory and you want to be efficient in battle to do something, you stand at the front line, and then you roll a d10, and on everything except a 10 you die, heroically, violently usually. Often both, violently and heroically. The issue with it is, Jesus, I missed a lot. How you doing? I'm doing fine. One of the things is with a lot of mass battle systems I see, it's either that the players do so much that what's going on in the background doesn't matter, or the players do absolutely nothing and it's just a bunch of rolls. It's like, haha, look, I done it. It's just hard to do. Like, it's hard to get a good balance of it. Out of curiosity, how would you distinguish magic and psychic powers in a game setting like Rail decks? I would say magic is more explosive and chaotic. You can force magic to do things that is impossible for psychic powers to do. That's kind of the idea there. A magician is able to do a lot with fire, for example. Like, you can do a lot of things with fire. Just about anything related to fire, you can fuck around with it. If you are a pyrokineticist, if you're a pyrokinesis guy, you can create a ball of fire in your hand. You can make a ball of fire in your hand. You can make the ball of fire bigger. You can make it smaller sometimes. But you can just make a ball of fire, and that's all you can do. That's kind of the idea. How I would do it is psychic powers are very focused, but very reliable. Magic is very chaotic and very big, but very diverse in how you can approach certain. That's why they don't interact very well, because psychic powers are pretty much the idea of very orderly, while magic is far more chaotic and difficult to do. I can't remember what the difference they made in Rail decks was. I think it was, I'm trying to remember. Because in Rail decks, wasn't it that anyone could technically learn to be a psychic, but very, very, like, no one could, you had to be born into knowing magic? I think that was it, right? It was something like that. I can't remember. It's been forever since I watched fucking Rail decks. I just watched a certain magical index as well. Let's see. Has there been a Dwarf Fortress TTRPG? Many have tried, many have failed. And do I have a game for it? No. Because Dwarf Fortress Adventure Mode is very detailed and very autistic. You would need a lot of work going into it to make it work. The man does not win a battle, but his men do. So it's kind of like the idea of like... Mountain Blade, Crusader Bling, See, if I want to be really really wonky about things, what I could do is Liu Bei, just do the story of Liu Bei in the Peach Garden, that kind of idea. Because fun fact, everybody, if you ever want to know who a real hero of the Liu Bei here, a really cool dude, because him and his bros effectively got a bunch of money together and decided to recruit a bunch of people, and that's how they did it. They literally got a bunch of money together, raised an army, and were like, let's go fuck up the turbans, fuck yellow turbans, fuck bitches, get money. than they did, but they fucked no bitches. Everyone really just suffered repeatedly. Like, just repeatedly, people just suffered because of them. And then everything goes wrong. That is how you really summarize a vast majority of Romance of the Three Kingdoms. And then things went wrong. You know, one. Things are going right. Things are not going right. Good old Wan Shao. You vassalize your entire tribe by yourself in order to give players a fair chance when realizing to play your faction, you vassalize all Chinese land and your son as your faction. Yeah, it's Wan Shao is a fascinating duck of a man. Gets his shit rocked repeatedly though throughout the story. Very sad man. Let's see. God, let me see if I can remember all my fucking names. Various bullshit, because that's what we could effectively do. It's like it's developing chemical BS. Let's see, what the fuck? Notepad, we have money and you have a commission set up. Don't give us ideas. Did you make a CDDA? I actually kind of did make a CDDA RPG a while ago. A while ago. You have the money. If I got the money for torturing for these types of things, I'll make him remade RuneQuest. Woo Man for life. Get the fuck out of here. Wasn't Liu Bei, like, Liu Bei. Like, the thing with in the book, because I read the book. I love Dynasty Warriors and Romance of the Three Kingdoms games so much, I read the fucking book. Like, the thing with Liu Bei, like, a vast majority of Liu Bei's entire storyline is, man, things are looking so good. I hope things never change. Then things change and everything goes bad. Man, I hopefully nothing goes any worse for me, and then everything goes worse. And then Zhang Fei fucks up. And then Guan Yu fucks up. And then everyone dies, and it's all your fault. It's like, oh. Liu Bei now. GP is biggest L of Xiao's life. Romance of Three Kingdoms video of all the series. God, what would it would be? Let me see if I can find it. It's been so long since it's been so long since I played a is it 10? No, it wasn't 10. It was there's a very specific one I remember playing an extensive it had to be 11, I think. Yes, it was 11. This has to be it. Yeah. Because RTK 11 had all like the 3D graphics and stuff. And it was really cool. Yeah, the fucking mini games. Fucking debate mini games. Hell yeah. Oh yeah, the fucking duel mini game was based. I loved it. It was awesome. Because you could always design all your own commanders. You can always make them really overpowered. You can just make every commander stupidly overpowered that you made, but make them dumb as a brick, and then they all get shit on by, like, one character because he has 18 grillion in every stat because he's broken. Yeah, and there was the fucking story mode, too, which changed everything. Oh, man. Because this is how they did debates. Like, you had debate strike that you were supposed to, like, go back. It was like little fucking mini games. They were really cool. I remember that extensively. Yeah, 11 was awesome. I remember having such good memories of 11. Oh, what was the one? I also played 6. Yeah, it was 6 as well. I played this on an emulator, mind you. I played RTK 6 a lot on an emulator because it was a lot easier to play. Like, RTK 6 is pretty simple to play. but you still have a lot of control over how like you move and stuff, and you had to capture their fucking supplies all the time. Like that is how you want. That's how you could cheese every single fight if you had cavalry. I haven't played 12 though. I'll have to check. Brute wasn't the dueling game brute system. It was fucking horrifying because you had to guess what they were doing, but they never made a good guess. But if you fought, like, anytime you fought Lu Bu, like, legitimately, Lu Bu cheated. Lu Bu would always choose the best thing in the game, and he would kill you immediately. If you were not 99 in warfare as well, he would kill you immediately because he was broken. And he was scary. And I remember playing it. I was playing Liu Bei. I remember that. I was like, yeah, I'm going to fight Lu Bu now. I'm doing so cool. It's Lu Bu. It's Lu Bu in time. And then I would get skull-fucked. Like, yeah, go get him, Guan Yu. Oh no, Guan Yu! Fucking dies. Oh man, good time. It was so fucking good. West Marches game. Okay. West Marches are, fundamentally speaking, a game about a place that is kind of like it's kind of hard to explain, but like the idea is more like a points of light setting. I'm going to bring this up just as kind of like an example, where technically there's like one place or there's like a city or something that serves as a central hub, and then you have the surrounding West Marches. Usually to make a game like this work really well is you have multiple players come together during a singular time in there, and they'll work together for various quests and stuff. Usually there are a lot of like little one-shot quests or something similar to that. And the idea is they come together for a quest, then they come back to the main hub, and then they kind of split up a little bit. So you might have like 30 players in a West Marches game, and they'll kind of play independently of one another, doing stuff, having fun, interacting with one another a little bit more. And they are interacting with each other across different parties, different groups, different people. You might have like an established group that you're always a part of, but you may go off on an adventure with another group because you're available that day and a couple other people are available. Usually levels get a little bit wonky with them, but it's very much randomized of what you're going to be encountering. It's very table reliant, it's very randomized, and the entire idea is like, oh, I'm a level 6 character, that's a level 5 character, and you're a level 3 character. We're going on a quest together to do something like deliver goods to another city that we know about. And we're running into like, what situations do a level 6, 5, and 3 run into, and how do we get out of it? And it's things like that. Yeah, kind of like a living game. I would say West Marches are an evolution of the living game, if that makes sense. Which, fun fact about West Marches, I played in a West Marches game before the term West Marches came into existence. Before I even knew what a live game was. Because I'm going to tell everyone a story now, because I can do that. My friend's dad wrote up this system. It was an autistic AD&D 2nd edition homebrew nightmare. Like, that's a big thing. It was an autistic AD&D homebrew nightmare, and the entire premise was that each player was managing a guild, an independent adventuring guild. That independent adventuring guild had multiple characters, multiple characters that weren't very well defined individually until they started going on quests and doing stuff. So you would have a binder full of character sheets and stuff. And depending on the session, you would bring out certain characters to go on quests. And if the party was different, you could just you would not restart, but you just wouldn't continue that quest until the group got back together. Or you would send out another group or another, set of people. I remember the setting being terrible. Like, the setting was like a terrible nightmare abomination that tiny raptors would kill you automatically, and everything was hellishly dangerous. Most parts of this game are meant for players to create the world around you. Sometimes. Or it's like not really a defined place, but it's like, here's a place where we kind of know the situation. The town of, you are the keep on the Borderlands. You are in the town of Brixenhaven. Brixenhaven is the only town for literal miles in any direction. Have fun. This game was weird though, his game, because it was a guild and you had to manage the guild economy. Magic had corruption really tied to it, so you didn't want to cast anything. Goblins were the most broken race in the game. I remember that very distinctly. That's one thing I remember very, very, very distinctly. Fighters were hellishly broken, I remember that. Which made goblins even more broken, by the way. Feats were custom. I remember that. Feats were custom. But there were a few defined ones. I've been... Part of me wants to get his notes for it. The other half of me has been very hesitant on it. The kind of game player needs to be practiced in to put the group together. Yeah, he was a very good GM, mind you. He had we already kind of had a group, like a larger group together, and he played a lot with his kids because he had 2 kids who played. It was just one of those things that, like, when I left town, because I left town to go to college, I learned things about him that put certain things in perspective that I thought was weird, but just, oh, it's fine. It's fine. But then I look back on it like, no, this wasn't fine. He touched his daughter, Lubu. That's the issue. He touched his daughter in ways he shouldn't have. Yeah, I learned that much later. The daughter was like around my age, and I knew her. She went to my school, and I learned this much later. And when I say it places certain things into context, because some of like the RP stuff he would do with his daughter was just fucking weird. But she was weird. That was the thing. Like, we always knew she was a bit wonky. The pile of swords gave that away a little bit. Yeah, that was kind of the idea. She was okay, she's just weird, but again, it's one of those things like everything kind of gets put into perspective later on, and you're like, oh, Jesus H. Christ, ooh. Ew. Like, maybe I don't want to interact with this game at all. Maybe I don't want to get the fucking documents for it. Like, maybe it's better left alone and in a fucking hole somewhere. I'm like, yeah, again, that's what when you say like, oh, learn a little bit more than what you wanted to. Yes, I did. Like, it wasn't funny. It wasn't fun. It was like, holy shit. Like, you kind of just like pause there for a moment being like, holy shit, that was what was happening. Oh, fuck me. It's not your fault. It was way after any of that. Like, there's nothing I could have done. There's nothing anyone... It was one of those things that you kind of just gotta sit on a little bit. You're like, ooh. Like, alright, guess I'm gonna just sit here and just mull over it for about a day or two. And then be like, nothing I could do about it, so just... it's one of those things, like, the memories of that game is drastically colored by me learning that about him. And then there was like he was a fucking alcoholic. He had a bunch of issues. That it's one of those things that when you're younger, you notice something is wrong, but you don't know what it is. But then you get older and you're like, oh, yeah, that's what happened. Oh no. Classic OSR player. This wasn't even OSR. Like that was like, again, my introduction to OSR was through him effectively. So it was like, again, everything has been a little bit warped in that perspective. Had an idea of a glass town style of West March, 4 to 6 players take care of a town or village with 150 300 players. Sim village plus strategos plus West March. Too bad I may get to run one. I mean, that could be interesting. Wouldn't really be a West March style game. It would just be a points of light system, but hey, it happens. Scared what's
This video brought to you by
Oh. Hi Z Bashu. How you doing? But yeah, let's see. I need to get the notes from him to see how extensive we can do. My throat's giving out, by the way, so I'm gonna call it here. So thank you all for watching. My name is Notepad Anon. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Godspeed, good luck. I will see you all on Wednesday. If tomorrow's video goes soon, we might do a Bastard Bonds video. Probably we'll do a Bastard Bonds stream, so get ready for that. Tomorrow, the video on Wednesday is going to be Meechum, because Meechum is a weird game, and I want to talk about it, because it's funny. So, thank you, Godspeed, good luck. I am, as they say, away.